drunk in the city park than being controlled by the mere gamer.
You are the gamers.
Do not interfere. A bard's duty is to observe and record, to preserve history in song for the enlightenment and edification of future generations. We allow events to unfold naturally, organically, and do nothing to influence their outcome. Where are your pants?
A mystery.
Who else disputes my rule?
Now, I'll civilize you yet.
No!
Everywhere.
No, I got rid of you!
The DeLorean will come and save us.
Die, evil races!
This epic is compromised!
No, we haven't!
Let's all eat a cow!
Sadness, they're not paying me enough.
Boy, I said!
Nora!
My family isn't exactly the forgive and forget type.
What do you want from me?
No. It's what you want from me. We have much to discuss.
I think the old magic found its way back into our world through a dream. Just a dream. Nothing more. Your project is to identify everyone with talent?
Yes.
Even if it's just potential and even if they haven't used it yet?
Damn it, I shouldn't have told you.
Is that what it does?
You cannot breathe a word of this to anyone.
Amanda, do you have any idea what you're doing?
Yeah. Saving children.
We have to destroy it.
Are you crazy? That's my life's work.
A witch hunt machine?
Jesus, Wit. You were being so naive. This isn't some fairy tale. This is about saving people here in the real world.
Lock up when you leave.
Okay, guys, ready?
Ready.
Ready. Ready.
Stage.
Can
Hey,
y'all
Jess.
still not see me? I can't see anybody.
Can't see you.
Am
You
I
have no
live?
video.
You are. Let me ask you, chat.
There we go.
Am I live? What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. It's my favorite motherfucking Wednesday of the week. This is Void Jumpers, and we're happy to have you here with us. I'm Jesse Keeter. We'll be playing this game. It's called Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. It's really good, and it focuses on character and narrative while giving you plenty of rules to make the fun. Welcome. Let's bring in my glorious friends.
What up, Jesse?
What up, Jesse? It seems like I'm doing a bit. I'm not. I just got the Ethernet cable right here, so I gotta crawl under it. Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Oh.
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're as good as Connor's shirt.
Sounds like we're all doing okay, to be honest.
That's a good shirt.
It's a
No,
great
not
shirt.
the shirt. Not the shirt. I just meant
The shirt's
silent
great. Shirt's
follow-
real great.
All right.
You guys,
Nah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
all
gotta,
right. Let's kick it over to Trent for a democracy corner and get this
Yeah,
motherfucker going.
yeah.
Great. Can y'all actually see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, sweet. Because I can't see any of you or myself. So I have no idea if you can tell that I just poured half a bottle of coconut water on myself or not. Anyway.
You're glistening.
Anyway, as I'm sure many of you know, it has been over a year since the murder of George Floyd. And to date, on a national level, we have not passed any meaningful legislation that deals with police brutality or accountability. While some local jurisdictions have been able to do that, we have not been able to do it at the national level. And quite frankly, most local jurisdictions haven't done nearly enough. So, like I say many times on Void Jumpers, what I'm telling you all to do is to call up your local officials in the districts that you're in and make your voices heard. The more that we are talking about these issues, the more that we are being annoying and refusing to go away and refusing to be placated with calls for better training or, more body cams. while those things are important, that's not the things that will actually keep people safe, that will actually keep people from dying, that will actually really, truly reform the systems that we have in this country. So that's my message to y'all today, is to remember the anger and fervor that you felt a year ago and try and tap back into that to continue sustained action going forward.
Thank you, Trent.
One thing I'd like to comment on is that it can be super difficult to understand the right approach to how to be helpful with this problem. And one of the difficulties of passing specific regulation to punish police officers for behavior that is detrimental to U.S. citizens. Another way to look at it is trying to release the grip that police unions have on protecting police officers for that type of behavior. If we are able to dismantle police unions, suddenly they can be held much more accountable for their actions without adding further legislation. In addition to that, a lot of people are like, it's such a nuanced topic when you deal with the entire system that is designed to do exactly what it's doing. That this isn't a malfunction in the system. This is what the system is designed to do, and it's doing it successfully. So I just really want to second all of Trin's advocations for being involved and understanding that even just a small adjustment in your thinking of those are not our leaders, those are our public servants, they represent us, and they will do what you say. It's why they are so afraid when people unify and why they spend so much time trying to keep us apart. So, yeah, together we are very, 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 very powerful. And I'm so proud to share a space with somebody as focused and dedicated as Trin and is so civically responsible. It's just really inspiring, Trin.
Thank you for those awesome words, Casey. That's really great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, the both of you. Mark, let's do the bumper thing.
Can they hear us when we talk during the bumper?
I'm pretty sure they can.
I don't think they can.
I have only good things to say about Chad, so it can't embarrass me. I haven't pooped on myself in weeks.
Okay, I seem to be in some kind of speaker view setting now. Anyone got any hot tips about how to change that?
I seem to be in some kind of technological limbo space.
Wait.
Inside my computer. I can only speak through the wires.
We're back on. For some reason, I thought there was going to be a longer bumper, but it's just a 2 second bumper. Now we're back on.
All right, focus up, you rascals.
Likely, not likely.
Jokes. These guys.
If we band together, Jesse has no power here.
That's right.
That's why I'm terrified of you.
He serves us. That's why he keeps bringing back.
That's why he keeps changing the rules.
Yeah.
He does change the
It's
rules.
an adaptive and evolving system. You blame this, all right? Page 46. Just do whatever they want.
Wait, that does not support your argument.
Anyway, just as Danny DeVito finishes his spell, successfully transforming the Hall of Doors into a seaside paradise, Sly lets loose a blast from her double-barreled Void Blaster. Purple energy tears through the Continuum's robes and sears her flesh. With a defiant roar, she explodes in a blinding white flash. She now floats above you in her true form, an angelic, four-armed empress, clothed in flowing white robes and brilliant armor. In two of her hands, she brandishes a glaive made of pure magical energy. What did she sound like? Was she British?
She sounds like she's been smoking for the last 45 years, a pack a day. Hey, listen, all you summoners. This is the continuum speaking. You got a lot of explaining to do.
Those who stand against me, she says, don't stand at all. At that, a nova of pure and unrelenting magic blossoms, disintegrating the palm trees, glassing the sands, and boiling the sea. And really and truly fucking y'all up. Slokta, at the brink of death, yells, "Wait! I changed my mind! I want to be a good guy again!" The continuum raises a finger, almost lazily, and envelops Slokta in a bubble of white. Yes, we'll get to you later, my dear. And with the flick of her wrist, sends Slokta flying through the air to crash into the rotten wooden door, one of 7, if you'll remember, floating at each side of the hall. Slokta disappears into a vortex of blight energy, and just before the door slams shut behind her, you hear her say, "Sneeze ya later!" Tag, or should I say Azahel, it's your turn. What do you do?
Well, I've got this terrible affliction, thanks to Mr. DeVito, taking the form of a -2 on any aggressive action I take. Is that for the round, or
just for the round? It will conclude after Bryn goes, because it's gonna loop back around and get to you. So basically, right before your next turn, Azahel.
Well, I think, not to spend too much justifying, but I think he's a bit blinded by his anger at the moment. And while it would make sense for him to act non-aggressively, I don't think that will stop him from just, sometimes when the big boss comes out, at least in video games, they have like a roar or a stomping around, and you got to get as much damage in as you can in that moment. Lisa, you've played Dark Souls. You know that there's a window. So he's just going to run right at her with that magnificent, with that maleficent glaive of his. Glaive on glaive!
Glaive on glaive. Roll it.
That is a 11 minus 2. That is a 9. Yeah.
Makes it a partial success. You're going to deal your damage and take a little damage in return. How much does it deal?
3? Didn't she just hit me for 15 in one blow?
Yeah. It was kind of an ult, transformation blast, It was clear that explosion from her came from the transformation.
Okay.
So unless she's got a couple more forms, and she pulls a Frieza, you guys will probably be fine.
Well, I don't know. I mean, give me 5 more free swings at her and I'll feel a little bit better.
You leap through the air and cleave her with the Maleficent, what is it called? I don't have your character sheet.
The Magnificent Maleficent Glaive.
You cleave her with the Magnificent Maleficent Glaive, and you actually shear off some of her armor and cut through to the flesh. She does not bleed, however, but there is a wound there that the magical weapon causes. And she bats away your glaive and hits you with her own, which is made of a lightsaber, and she deals 4 damage to you.
Hashtag aside, let's hear how Azahel really feels about what's going on here.
Oh yeah, we have a new perk.
So as the continuum slashes you in return, Azahel, and malice sprays forth out of you, you turn to the camera to give an aside, which is one of our new perks, and you get 30 seconds to rant about the current situation before we drop back in. None of this information will be usable to the players.
Okay. And cue me when you're ready.
He turns to the camera. We lock into a nice close-up. Action.
It's unfortunate. Whoever's producing this show clearly doesn't know anything about drama. You have an opportunity for some glaive on glaive action, and what? I'm gonna get 1 blow and then she just swipes me back? I'll tell you what. I'm about as confident in this show's future as I am in my own accent as this character, which is to say, not too confident at all.
And he turns back, malice spraying out of his mouth when he returns to the fight, which brings us back around to Danny DeVito. Yes. Yes.
I believe you owe me a resist corruption roll, sir, on account of my magnificent, maleficent glaive.
Magnificent,
man.
Maleficent. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
I haven't made these since I drew, or I haven't looked at them since I made them. So yeah, I'm rolling. Tell me how it works, Daddy.
Target must roll plus magic. Wait, I'm sorry. If used on an NPC, player rolls and reverses the list of results. So, you. Yeah. 8 plus. So would we be taking the -2 to this here? Or is that bundled into the...
I think Danny DeVito turned this whole place into a beach, and then I glassed it. So every aggressive roll is going to be hit with the -2 penalty until your next turn.
Okay. 7 to 9. Target must obey one command given by me. Then the corruption is purged.
Okay. You get one command. We'll limit it to a single statement.
Okay. The Continuum, enraged by Azahel's indignation, decides this is personal. She is corrupted by her pride and removes her armor to fight a little more fair.
She takes her glaive and sticks it into the clasp of her breastplate and just shears it off. And her armor falls down and clatters onto the glassed beach below. The two of you are floating, Dragon Ball Z style, slightly above the Hall of Doors. And then she strips off her gauntlets, all 4 of them, and shirks those as well. And then she says, I'm going to teach you a thing or two about glaive-on-glaive action. Danny DeVito.
Oh, also, Rob front-loaded an aside for Sam. So he's got one as well.
Let's get that real quick. It's now Danny DeVito's turn in the initiative, but as he approaches, he turns over his shoulder and looks directly into the camera. We settle into a nice close-up. Action.
It's been a hell of a day. We're in the break room before the show. We only have a Keurig machine. You know those little pod coffees? They won't even spring for an espresso. Here we are, these crazy wizards in space. No espresso machine. I mean, what are we supposed to do here? And then we come into this meeting, no snacks, and they wonder why we're so testy. How are we supposed to get anything done? How are we supposed to resolve who owns a planet if we don't even have a good perk going? Am I right?
He turns back into the action just as the Continuum's armor clatters to the glassed surface at his feet. It is your turn, Danny DeVito.
Thank you for both of those, by the way, chat.
Thank you, chat.
So, you never know what you're going to get when you turn on the faucet. So I want to give a shout out to Merc Worky for hooking me up with these sweet dice.
Whoa!
I got some super, like, you could hold you could capture like a enchanted creature in these, and they would be safe. You can't really tell, but they are a sweet purple. Maybe you can tell with like this.
Are they holographic, like a Pokemon card?
Basically, they've got like it looks
cool.
like a sweet purple essence inside. So like little tesseracts, but purple. I don't know which Infinity Stone that is. Anyway, Danny DeVito is furious that Azahel would resist this luscious beach and attack the Continuum, and takes his trident and screams something convoluted like, "Old Faithful!" And he's going to try to create a whirlpool underneath Azahel and blast him upwards with a mighty water blast. That is an 8.
All right, now I ask you, Danny DeVito, does the -2 from the beach paradise apply to you?
Yes, no, it should augment my power because it's also water.
All right, then I will give you a plus 1, which only brings you to a 9. But you do create a whirlpool. Tell us what it does, please.
All right, so it's a mixed success. So I think it basically a whirlpool opens up beneath them, and then the whole thing falls away in the center, as if there was no water in. There's like a hollowed center, and then an intense like fire hose gusher of water shoots out of it, and it hits Azahel kind of not directly underneath, so it's not going to blast him upwards, but I think it may either discombobulate him or spin him around, perhaps.
Yeah, all right. I think what it'll do is, because it's a mixed success, I think it also gets in the way of the continuum, and the whirlpool raises up and separates the two of them, giving both of them a little bit more space and opening up the battlefield a little bit. I think that would deal some damage, but probably not much. We'll say mixed success will be 2 damage magical. The continuum will take it also. But she's not looking at you askance. She knows sometimes things go awry.
That's a 2 damage to Pippi
Azahel and the continuum. Which brings us to Sly.
What the hell? You burned the fringe off my jacket. Little bitch.
Miss Miller.
And I think Sly takes her shotgun and through the powers of void energy is able to transform it into 2 pistols.
If I may, I kind of think it would be like one of those swords that turns into 2 swords, where instead of transforming it, it's like you kind of like break it off into the double barrels. Yeah.
Yes, much better. Thank you for piping in with that. And I think she takes aim at the continuum and says, I really like that jacket. It was my favorite. And then one way up in the air at Azahel and says, but you're a troublemaker! And fires one at each of them.
Sure, let's roll 2 separate attacks. First roll for the continuum. You will be taking a -2 to whatever your bonus is. This is a magic
We were all
roll.
just like, fuck the island music. We're fighting.
He tried, he imposed a disability. Your
That
magic.
is what is my bonus is 2?
Your magic is normally +3, so you're only getting a +1 right now.
That's an 11, my friend.
Wow. The continuum turns to say, personally, I find that jacket to be quite tacky, just as she catches another bolt of void energy and spins away, hitting into the whirlpool and starting to spin around it. How much that damage? I got it right here. The double-barreled void blaster does 3 harm physical and magical. She will take that. She does not receive additional damage from the whirlpool, as the initial attack was only a partial success. Roll for Azahel.
That is a 6.
Tell us what happens, Azahel.
I think you point the gun up to Azahel. He was discombobulated by the whirlpool, but kind of spins down. It turns to you right as you pull the trigger and just sticks a finger in the barrel. And it Looney Tunes is you.
Yeah. Because when you fail or do a mixed success, you're supposed to take damage, especially on attack. So I think it will destroy... I will give you a choice, Sly. It will either destroy that half of your weapon or deal full damage to you.
I'll take the damage. It's too cool to. It's too cool to destroy.
I wouldn't to destroy it.
That is 3 harm, physical and magic, as a void backfire erupts in your face.
All right, that's not great.
Which brings us to Horace. And I just want to be clear, there is an expectation for character voices. Action.
Not while I'm describing what's going on. Nobody else did that. So I have a question.
Yes.
Also, I hate you. So the only thing that has damage on my staff is the Sammy Serpent, but I just blew it on Slokta. So can I use it again?
Yeah, so one of the things, and I'll copy and paste this real quick. Everybody's staff has a base attack of 3 harm, both physical and magical. Everybody's summoner staff is just, and the Continuums happens to be doing 4 because she's a bad bee, as Sly pointed out earlier.
So I can use the Sammy Serpent again?
You cannot use the summon again, but you can. Here's what I'll tell you. You cannot use the summon again, but you could use magic to try and cast the summon again. Unlike just having the summon, you do not get a guaranteed use of the attack.
Okay. I 100% want to roll that.
Cool, do it. You're gonna get a -2 to your bonus because of Danny DeVito's beach vibes.
Fuck! Oh, it's a 3.
Whoa!
Wow.
On Horus's use magic, it says summon forth magical fire to attack, defend, or problem solve. On a 1 to 6, you lose control. The fire does what it will. Tell us what happens when you shoot the snake out there, Bryn, and I'll tell you if there's, or sorry, Horus, and and I'll let you know if there's any repercussions.
You want me to describe the snake coming out of my staff?
Just what were you going to do? Get the snake into the field, and then I'll take it from there.
Fuck. Well, I was going to. Oh, see, I'm gonna go English. Look, I wanted to put out the wee beasties all over the place, but the snake isn't listening to me. I can't do this accent tonight.
The staff.
We think you're doing great.
What initially looks like a fountain of hot lava erupts out of the head of the staff, but you can see in that liquid fire there is hundreds of little Sammy serpents that are now going around and terrorizing all of you. So everybody just roll a dex save real quick.
Oh no.
Ooh, that was much better.
Oh no.
Fail dex save for me.
It's a fail for Danny DeVito as well.
I'm honored to be in this category with you, Casey.
What is my bonus to Dex? Are my stats the same?
You are a +3 to Dex. You sly.
Well, then that's a 7, honey. My lucky
All right.
number.
Hold on. No, I also have a +3, so I have a 9.
Well, never mind. I'm still a failure.
Okay, so 2 mixed success, so you're going to take half damage. Azahel, you're going to take full.
Tell me what that is once more.
I'm going to find it on Bryn's little character sheet. Okay, Flame Nova. So 7 harm.
What?
That's going to be ignore armor and magic.
Wait, 7 harm ignores armor?
Yeah, and magic armor. That's going to be Sly and Danny DeVito. You both take. Oh, why don't you give me a dex save there too, Horus? You two are going to take 4 harm. We're going to round up.
At what point do we become unstable?
At half health.
And our health is 30?
It was 30 to start, then you all got walloped by Continuum Blossom and took 15.
Well, I'm definitely unstable.
I'm extremely unstable.
At what point do we become unconscious?
When you hit 0.
Wait, how many points did you say we took from the continuum?
15.
15 points of harm?
Yeah, so initially you had 30 HP, and then the Continuum fucked everybody up and knocked you down to half.
Okay.
What's your dex save there, Horus?
Oh, I had a 10.
Okay, so you take no harm. The staff gets away from Horus, and it just kind of fire hoses these flaming serpents all over the room.
Sorry. Duck.
Danny DeVito and Sly dive out of the way, but they still get slapped with a couple. Azahel just gets smothered in them. With that, they all hit the glass, and the glass that was beneath your feet shatters and breaks Danny DeVito's illusion. The paradise is gone, and you can now see that the Hall of Doors has been scarred by all of these magical attacks. Some of the doors are on fire, though they don't seem to be actively disintegrating. They're just holding the flame. There's a bunch of crazy shit in here. All of the walls are cracked. If there's any windows, they've been blown out. But that brings us to Azahel. What's your HP at there, my dude?
I'll tell you this. I can count it on 2 hands.
2 hands?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's better than I thought it would be.
You can count any number other than 0 and 1 on 2 hands.
My HP is 10. I was just trying to be clever.
Oh.
It is your go.
He's like shaking snakes off of him. There's like one in his boot that he's wiggling out. They're also on fire, so he's like kind of doing like a hot potato thing with the snakes. He looks around. He looks at Horace, who's I think just like. I don't want to roll. Never mind. I'm not going to role play Lisa's character, but I think that there's like a clear like Horace is that was not the intended result of Horace's spell there.
No. They just sang book a whole lot.
There's just like a grumble moment. Azahel just kind of grumble at everyone, and then focuses his gaze back on the malice and just says like. Is sort of like slow walking towards her as he continues to shake snakes off of him and just says like, this was a lot of unnecessary violence. I came here to ask for a basic modicum of respect. Would that you had listened. And just throws forth both hands, summons Malice, to attack this time. I'll see what the roll is and see what it does. Whatever it does, the action is just like, it's like ink just flooding from his hands out towards Our Lady.
You don't get any negatives this time.
Okay, well that's a 7.
Okay, you're gonna deal damage. She is going to take 2 damage, but in doing so, you're going to give her what's the reverse of resistance? Vulnerability. She now has vulnerability to malice. You can see, because you knocked her armor off, it's starting to cling to her, and she's having trouble burning it away, because all of the energy that she expends is like initially burning it off, but then fueling its growth, and she's just like fighting this venom skin that's on her, and she's going to take 2 harm. It will bypass her armor, which she is now laid on the floor, and she is going to land in front of you, Azahel, just kind of burning through. You guys are all so powerful. You're not just like doing little water guns. I just feel like you are, like so much. And she just kind of like chops through, burning away the malice and just getting covered in it, and hits you with her staff, which will deal 4 harm. That does not bypass your armor and shit. That is 4 harm, both physical and magic.
Now, just to keep myself honest here, this may be already taken care of in her dealing damage, but on a mixed success, Malice helps with incident.
This will be her finishing the attack.
Okay.
If it was like a narrative use of the spell, we'd do something funkier, but because you're using it as an attack, you're just going to take some damage.
Okay.
That brings us back around to Danny DeVito.
Horace, what are you doing? You burned everybody up.
Well, yeah, I'm from the fighter planet. What
Right, but, maybe a little discretion. I mean, even if you're, using the loo. You try to put it in the pot, right?
You can take your turn.
I'm just inquiring. I'm worried about you. I don't know if you took a head injury or something
I'm
like
fine.
that.
Just go. I'm growing a beard already.
All right, I feel like you're displacing some of your aggression on me based off of your failure.
I didn't fail. I covered him in snakes.
I am covered in snakes.
So was everyone else.
Sorry about
Snake-a-palooza in here. All right. Danny DeVito is going to, instead of blasting water up this time, try to have the two ocean waves go up around Azahel and swallow him into the sea. And he's going to say something super clever like, yes, got it. Why? He's like, why? Oh, wait, Danny DeVito, right. Why did the fish blush? Because it saw the ocean's bottom. And then the waves crash up, and we'll see what they do. We'll see if they.
It's a true skill.
That is a 13.
True skill.
Okay. The door to the water planet, which is a opaque sliding glass, rips open and a flood just explodes out of it. Azahel, you've been backing up, trying to get these snakes off of you. You just got hit with the Continuum's glaive, and you take a step back, and just as you are there in time to hear Danny DeVito's quip, the door slides open next to you and hits you with a blast of water and sends you across the room. Because it was a full success, you do not get to deal return damage, and you will take... You said full success?
Yeah, it was a 13.
3 harm, physical, and magic. And I will point out when attacks bypass magic.
Bypass armor?
Bypass armor. I'm not going to keep telling you when they don't. Unless I say it, your armor works.
What is armor? 3?
I believe that you have...
You have 2 Void Summoner Armor 2, Sly.
Yeah. It is all of you have it against both physical and magic. Which brings us to Sly.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to do, and I think a roll will determine how successful it is.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I think Sly takes a look at her pistols, or whatever we want to call them. Does that cool finger spin and holsters them. Y'all are really starting to... I don't know what this accent is, by the way.
Yeah,
Lisa, you
it's
are not
working
the
for
only
me.
one who's really struggling with accents tonight. Butter my biscuits. Well, butter my biscuits if all my hair just isn't a mess. And I think she's going to start to spin in a circle and generate her own void tornado.
Cool.
All right,
The
you're gonna.
goal is to like pull in the Continuum and Azahel, and it be a more defensive thing to like prevent them from attacking each other.
Okay. You'll roll plus magic. You got a +3.
Let's see how successful I am. You two just need to calm down. And I shall ensure that you do it.
Is that a full success?
That is a full success.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So Sly starts spinning, and a purple tornado grows up around her and enlarges until it pulls both Azahel and the Continuum in. I will give you an option there, Sly. You can either deal damage with this, or forego the damage and use it to like lock them inside the tornado.
I'm gonna lock them inside the tornado.
Okay. Sly is now created a tornado cage that Azahel and the Continuum are inside. Horus.
I hope you get dizzy and throw up like on the tilt-a-whirl. Is the -2 now gone since the illusion is broken?
It is.
Well, I've got to prove myself, don't I? So I'm going to do the same thing I just did, and hopefully we'll pass this roll.
I think, personally, like the snakes are still spewing out of the staff, and you've managed to point them at the wall, and this is your attempt to like bring it back around and aim it.
Yep. 12.
Okay. That is going to hit you, Azahel. And I have a feeling that I know what's going to happen. Flame Nova does 7 harm and ignores armor and magic.
Okay.
What is your HP at? Oh, I thought that was going to take you out. Okay, so Horus points this. Horus has been running around as the staff has gotten away from him and manages to run back and charge you, Azahel, as another. This will. This is what I think happens. The Continuum's going to take some damage too. I think she spews all of this into the Void Tornado, so that it's just a tornado of burning snakes now. Both the Continuum and Azahel are going to take the damage. The Continuum will take the full 7 as well, bypassing armor. Sly, give me a dex check.
Uh-oh.
An 11.
All right, you're cool. Azahel, it is your turn. You are inside a tornado of flaming snakes facing off against your enemy. I think the two of you are still kind of slowly floating in circles, with Sly just spinning Sonic the Hedgehog style on the ground below you.
Okay. So I think in the spinning tornado, everyone's doing everything they can to keep me, to pacify this fight, but there's at this point just such a sense of rage and a sense of just fury that his colleagues are so fixed on keeping him in his position that he reaches out and grabs the Continuum, and we sort of see angle on the Continuum. We're in this.
Hold on. Hold on, Azahel. Pause whatever you're saying if you can hear me, because you froze for us. We'll give him a sec. This is a big moment for everybody.
In the meantime, maybe we should cut away to Horus.
No. It's fucking brilliant. What is? There you go. That's all you get.
Well, I'm just gonna give it a second, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a temporal displacement anomaly.
Yeah, the tornado is growing around you, Sly. Roll use magic again. This is to sustain the spell after the snakes enter into it.
Oh, baby. Ooh, that is a full fail.
Okay. The spell stays, but you do lose control of it. So it is now expanding to swallow up everybody who's in the room. All that you've missed, Azahel, is I made Sly roll a magic check to see if she could sustain the spell. She failed. So the snake tornado has expanded to include everybody in the room now. Horus, Danny DeVito, please roll a dexterity check.
8.
7.
Okay, both of you take half damage, 4 harm, bypassing all armor. I rolled just a baseline for our other 2 summoners. We do have a lightning summoner and bloom summoner in the room. They both passed. They get sucked up into the tornado, but they manage to shield themselves. Azahel,
What was?
Back from the phone to the computer.
Excellent. All right, it is your turn. Everybody's in the tornado with you now.
After a very
Son of a... Sorry.
No, it's good because I can still see you guys. So you just stop me when I freeze. Okay. Angle on the continuum, the sort of obsidian gauntlets grabbing her. His gauntlets start to break apart as his knuckles enlarge, and the bones in his hand break and snap. Hair covers his fists, and we slowly pull out, and it trickles up his arms and his shoulders. You guys see what's happening. The magnificent, maleficent beast transforms into his true form.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. That is the move I'm gonna make. That's Tag's form. I think that we haven't seen his dad's true form, but I think it's not a creature with hands. Or fur, really.
No
What is
hands?
it?
I think it's like the closest animal I can compare it to is an ox, but it's much more monstrous. I just think it's this big, like, sort of like the Balrog. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
The Balrog.
Balrog. Yeah, just this like the sort of oxen shaped big
Balrog had hands.
Okay, well, maybe this guy's got hands too, but he's not a wolf. I'm just trying to say, Sure, the Balrog had hands. Look, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm really sorry.
We forgive you. You can have an ox-like head and hands. Continue with the description.
There's a really terrible Paul W.S. Anderson movie with the Monster Hunter movie that came out a couple months ago. I can't imagine anyone would have seen it. Anyway, there's just a monster ox. I don't know the word. Monster Balrog ox.
Monster Balrog ox.
My fantasies.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm just gonna double check. Okay, yeah, so I think that this lasts for an attack. What makes it powerful is that you do not need to roll. So you just transform into your beast form, and then you get to do an attack. I'm going to augment what it says here because I didn't copy and paste it right. Both of those bypass armor.
Well, I think much like the continuum transforming into her true form, it is Malice Blast of the two that feels more appropriate. That there is that blast of Malice energy emanating from him as he transforms. But I will argue that he doesn't transform back.
Yeah, I didn't spell it out right. Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm at death's door. If I'm gonna go out, at least let me go out as a half ox.
Sure. I misread this. It says immunity to magical attacks. At first I read it as immunity to attacks. So you do have an immunity right now to magical attacks. You can go out as the ox. Yeah, so you blow this transformation and if you go out, you turn into this ox and there's this huge nova of malice. Everybody is going to take 5 harm.
Ooh.
Bypassing armor. It is counting as both magical and physical. The continuum is going to take 10 because she is vulnerable to malice. Ooh. You see Malice coat her angelic wings and they begin to disintegrate and curl in on themselves. And she's getting coated in this stuff and is now desperately ripping it away and trying to summon forth more of those like continuum blossoms, but they're just, sizzling out. And so she is not done, but she is now on the ground, wingless, and just covered in this shit, just trying to tear it off of her. And you are now the magnificent, maleficent beast. All right.
I am the magnificent, maleficent beast, and this is my transformation song. I'm the magnificent, maleficent. I wanted to be catchier, but that's a lot of syllables. We tried.
Danny DeVito, that brings us to you.
All right, Danny DeVito is torn up. He is not looking good. He's been knocked over onto the ground. He's got like his clothes have been ripped open by like the malice and the fire snakes, and he's got like kelp draped across his manly and hairy chest and his supple bosom, and he cradles his own well-girthed tum-tum, and he says, Azahel, you can't hide forever. Ollie, Ollie, oxen free. And he summons Ollie the Obliterator.
What?
If you'll remember, it was the creature that you encountered at the bottom of the ocean on the water planet. It was kind of a like Cthulhu-esque giant squid monster.
Yeah.
We're in some epic shit, y'all.
Oh, that's a 7.
Okay. Once more, the water door slides open. And what you see inside is just a dark room. From the candlelight in the hall passing through that barrier, you can see the glint of a water surface inside and hear the drip of a drop deep in a cavern. It looks like you've been shown a deep underwater cave. As everybody pauses, I think that the fire snake tornado blew out at Azahel's transformation. You're now all standing looking at this door. When you just see like a mess of tentacles just kind of pour out of it and start fighting off, and they fire into the crowd. You don't have to roll this, Danny, because it was your attack and you didn't roll a failure, but everybody's gonna roll dex.
Oh no.
Not a great stat for me.
Oh, that was a critical fail. 1.
Oh Lord.
So actually, it's a 3. Cool.
Wow.
9.
Okay.
7.
Okay. Ollie the Obliterator.
Oopie. Oopsie.
Okay. So with that, everybody who failed is going to take 7 harm, ignoring armor and magical armor. You're going to
7, did you say?
7. Because you are immune to magical attacks right now, Azahel, I'm not going to make the ignoring armor take effect, but I don't think that's going to matter. You do your own math. 7 without bypassing armor.
Oh, unless I'm immune to it, really any sneeze is going to take me out.
Okay. And Sly, what did you roll?
7.
Okay. You're going to take 4 harm. It will bypass your armor.
I'm dead. I'm -1, just FYI.
Okay. One of the tentacles lashes out, goes right over Danny DeVito's head, and hits Horace in the chest, smashing him up against the wall. His staff finally stops shooting flaming snakes out of it and goes clattering to the ground. The tentacle slinks back into the room. Sly, you get clipped in the hip and tossed into the air, and you crash down onto one of the... There's not really any furniture in this room. You just crash down onto the hard stone floor. Danny DeVito, these tentacles are waving around you, but a majority of them all go and hit Azahel in unison. At that moment, the continuum manages to burn off the last of the malice that is on her, though her wings do not return. And she throws her glaive at the back of the hall. It hits the door that Azahel entered this room through, and blows it open. Hold, please. Azahel is hurled through the plain door at the back of the hall. He's punched through the air by this mass of tentacles. When it opens, all magical energy in the room is instantly swallowed. All spells are diffused. You can all feel the life being drained from your souls. As long as the door stays open, it will continue to extinguish you. Quickly, you fools! The Continuum yells over this storm. Close the door! Bar it with your most powerful wards! Azahel flies through the door. What you feel, Azahel, is I think that you get your fingers dug in, very edge of the cliff style, but you're being pulled into what... I mean, you've just experienced water vortexes, void vortexes, flaming snake vortexes. This has the same pull to it. This has the same pull to it, but there's no space here. If you are to let go, you feel that you will be falling forever. In initiative order, starting with Danny DeVito, as the tentacles curl back into the water door and slide shut, you are now each tasked with warding the door. You will need to roll for it. It will count as a use magic roll, and you will be able to give me the essence of your ward, the way in which it would bar the door. The Continuum throws out a hand and points at Horus, and the Bloom Summoner casts a healing spell. And luckily, because I just realized what was about to happen, didn't fail, because she would have just taken all the damage and killed herself. And heals you for 5 points of damage, Horus. Bringing you back up. You.
Oh.
You were dead, fool!
I know. That's why I was like, why are you talking to me?
Because the Continuum needs each of the magical elements for this spell.
5, so that brings me to 4, because I was -1.
Danny DeVito, it is your turn. Roll, use magic.
10.
Cool, full success. How do you ward the door?
Is it just like a portal outline of a door, or is there like an actual door to the frame, or...
It's kind of weird. I don't really know, because I've just pictured floating doors, but when they open, there wouldn't be a frame there necessarily. I think maybe one is created to outline a portal.
Okay. Then I will just go with Danny DeVito kind of does like a motion like this, and all these starfish like shoot out and start like suction cupping to the portal and trying to like squeeze it closed with their nice... What kind of animal is that? It's not an encephalopod, and my marine biology is failing. This is excellent. Well, starfish anyway, giving all sorts of hugs to this portal to try to seal it.
Sly, will you choose to participate? You've just taken a very middle ground stance through the fight, dealing damage to both Continuum and Azahel. The Continuum turns to you, Sly, and says, yeah, that's right. She says, Sly, do your part or join him.
Well, I don't like him that much.
All will be forgiven if you complete this task.
To be honest, I might actually be dead right now. I lost track of the math.
The Bloom Summoner would be doling out healing spells. She's a good little grandma, if we all remember Messorium. She's also in fucking, like, tree ent mech armor. So she's just like... Heal! Heal!
So I think Sly is gonna stagger to her feet and, try and, wipe away the under eye makeup and kind of smooth down her hair a little bit. And she's gonna take one long look at Oxman and say, well, guess it's time to get along there, little doggy. And with her void powers, will create a rope and start lassoing it above her head, and aim for the doorknob. And with her last bit of strength, try and yank it shut.
Okay, use magic.
That is a 9.
Okay. You are able to get the rope around. and start to pull the door closed. You can see that it's actually tightening around the doorknob and becoming a more intricate lock. Slide to me is Void and tech. You know, she's got like the shotgun instead of a weapon. It turns into cool guns. I think that the lasso is starting to like create a more intricate lock, but your mixed success is just making it take some time. And the continuum yells, "Quickly! Quickly! Before he regains his strength!" Horace.
Well, what about my strength?
You are in the doghouse, Sly. We'll discuss your strength later. Horace.
I think Horace is gonna pull out. Well, the staff's already out, and not gonna use snakes this time, but gonna use just fire to sort of meld the door frame, and the door to try to seal it.
Okay, roll it.
That's a 10, and he looks at Asahel and says, "Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, you son of a motherless goat!"
Flame erupts out of Horace's staff and traces the outline of the door and starts to cauterize the other wards, strengthening them. Bloomy. Yeah. Bloom Grandma, Messorium, lumbers over in her Treant mech armor and just drive her hands into the ground, and you can see it's like time-lapse photography, just like sprout of two different things pop out of the ground and then very quickly grow into trees that grow into where the fire is, and they're being like hardened. Lightning, Primus, he's okay. Launches a couple. I think we remember Primus being pretty lame throughout this entire endeavor, so just to kind of continue that, just kind of like half-heartedly lobs a couple lightning bolts and says, "Cool."
There is something that Sly would like to try to add later on when it's her turn again.
I don't know that you're going to get a turn, so I'm going to give you a moment. That moment happens when the continuum turns to that old rotten wooden door and blows it open. And you start to hear a voice from deep down in this vortex of light energy. And while this is happening, you have a moment, Sly, if you'd like to take it.
Well, I just feel a little ashamed of my roping skills. I've let them fall to waste. I've got to live up to my name somehow. And I think Sly attempts to rig, you know, a la every home movie of kids, a bucket above the door that will just dump void energy on it, on any unsuspecting person coming through it.
Okay, a booby trap. You got it.
They don't call me Sly for nothing, but it's not very expensive either. That is a 9.
Okay. There is a void trap on the door. Which I'm going to try to remember. There is a void trap on the door. At that moment, Slokta comes tumbling out of her door and goes, "Ow! Ooh! Ah! Oh! Ah! Ee! Ooh! Ooh! Ah! Ah! Ah!" And slides to a front and says, "Whoa! This place is fucked up! What did I miss?" And the continuum says, "Slokta, your ward, now!" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I had this one on deck!" And she just points her staff and runs at Asahel like a spear carrier and puts the puts the staff right up to where his face is, so it's kind of poking into that dimension. And she says, "This is gonna hurt." Then clicks a button on her staff, and a little green puff of smoke comes out, and it goes.
Did she just fart on him?
Yeah, and she takes it out and she's like, "Just kidding." And then she throws some acid onto the side, kind of blending with the fire, hardening all of the starfish, and finishing off the void trap to add a little poison into it. And then she's like, "Cool, we all good now?" And they continue, just swats her back through the door, and it closes. And she says, "You think you're in trouble? Sly. Well, just wait till I get my hands around that little summoner's neck." But with that, Azahel is flung into the darkness, and the door slams shut behind him. The wards crystallize and glow, blending into the stone, but their essence is there and powerful. At this, the vision of these past events begins to fade. My dog's being weird. Hey, this is a huge moment on my show. If we could just get a little respect for the gravity of the narrative. You're banished from this realm. Okay. Okay, tag. As the vision ends, you find yourself at a crossroads. To be clear, each of your characters experienced that through the eyes of the person that they inhabited.
What was it that triggered it? Will you refresh my memory?
You put the key, your key, into the door and walked through. And then when you passed through, it just happened. I believe you all locked arms, Wizard of Oz style, and kind of passed through together. And Rex was eating a popsicle.
Oh, yeah.
You will now decide your path, Tag. If you so choose, you may cleanse yourself of the malice and forever banish Azahel to the obscurity of the other realm. Or you may assume the mantle of the malice and destroy the gate which bars him from your world. Both of which will have mechanical consequences that I think we can just address for today, as it comes up, but we'll probably hit it up in between sessions. Now, if you'd like, you may summon Half-Dad to this place before you choose. But before you and your friends return, you will need to make a decision, and these are your only two options.
Phone a friend.
All right. He doesn't need to come from very far. You're actually in kind of like a planar gateway where he can come up to the edge of your space, and he just steps out of the shadow and says, "So, now you see where I'm coming from, am I right?"
No. I mean, I see more. I understand more, but I think you're asking me to exonerate you, to tell you that you're justified in everything you've done, but I don't believe that. I don't have that sense of familial honor, pride, or vengeance that I think you've always wanted me to have.
On the contrary, Tag, with everything that I've learned, I wouldn't have expected that from you.
I know what I'm going to do, Dad. I think you know the decision that's before me. I don't need to explain it.
I'm aware.
Do you want my explanation? Do you care?
Very much.
Okay. Well, I don't really have one. I don't want to leave you in suspense. I'm not going to seal the door forever. I'm not going to banish you. Because I can't. Because you're my dad. And, you know, I don't feel super close to you. And I think that that's your fault in some ways and my fault in some ways. And I think that there are certainly things that I could have done differently, both when I was younger and now. But I just didn't know. I was really mad. I was really angry. And I just thought that I could explain to you why what you did was wrong. And that would be a solution. But I don't think that brought us closer. I don't think that that allowed us to understand each other any better. I don't know. I'd really like to believe that it's not a mistake I'm making, because I really do care about a lot of people in this world, and you have not demonstrated a really spotless track record in terms of caring for this world. You're not my half-dad. I'm sorry that I've been saying that this whole time. I think I was doing that because I was trying to keep a wall up between us. You're my dad, and I think we have a lot of work to do. But I'm interested in seeing what a future looks like when I make the choice to forgive you, and when I make the choice to believe in you and in myself. So, yeah, I don't know if you care about any of that, but, you know, world's your oyster. Please don't fuck it up. Don't embarrass me. Too bad.
May we lock in this choice before the scene continues?
Yeah.
Cool. Azahel summons forth the magnificent, maleficent glaive and holds it in a thoughtful way, looking at it. And he says, in the same way that you do not need to describe your choice to me, I no longer need to describe my reasoning or my actions to you. I will say, however, that all I ever asked for was a modicum of respect and a true balance to a system that I was integral to. And he offers you the glaive. And he says, he actually, with your decision being made, Tag, he puts up a hand and kind of makes a couple signs in the air, and he says, I've dropped the barrier around the lightning planet and closed all of our rifts. Forgiveness perhaps is a long time coming, for I have done terrible things, and though I feel they are justified, that does not make them so. However, the system cannot continue in the way that it has for so long. That being said, when it comes time to make these changes, perhaps we'll be able to make them together.
Okay, yeah. Destiny, the world, and stuff. Just give me a hug.
He gives you a hug. And it's the first time that he crosses the plane. You are in this weird pocket dimension, but as he crosses it, that dimension, that little bubble that you're in, pops. And you feel yourself in this realm of his. But there's no longer that pull into the darkness. And he gives you a hug. I think that we get a nice, long hug there. And we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. I got a whiz. That was a sweet moment. I got a whiz. I'll be right back.
It's raining outside.
I don't see sunny or rainy. They're all just days to me.
Okay, but clearly it's raining.
Is it? I mean, Yes, obviously it is, but just to play devil's advocate for a moment, is it really?
Yes. Yes, it is. Look outside.
So you want it to be sunny all the time? Is that what you want? You want constant sunshine. Have you ever heard of a drought?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that it's raining.
Look, don't be such a hater. All days matter.
Dude, just look outside.
You know, my cousin was caught in a snowstorm last year. Where was the outrage then?
I'm just pointing out.
It rains so much more in India. You have to deal with so much less weather in this part of the world. But I don't know why you're complaining. True, it was raining, but it's completely stopped now. Ancient history. Get over yourself. I studied meteorology in high school, and the term is actually precipitation. The climate changes are clearly part of a natural cycle that has nothing to do with us. So rain should be underrepresented. Maybe rain just writes better science fiction. This kind of negativity just propagates the conservative agenda. People who wear raincoats anyway, right? F you. You ignorant Did you back and your or were you just that way? I hope you get rained on. That'll teach you a lesson. To push this dry-hating cumulonimbus bull.
Had a little misunderstanding. Maybe we should go outside, take a walk. You can get some fresh air.
In the rain?
We get the final insert here and
All right.
break for second meal.
All right. Warm pocket cheese. I'm in. All right.
Okay, so are you familiar with how to fondle a nipple?
Nick?
Yes.
Nick, I'm going to shoot Christian's face. Shooting Christian's face.
Oh, come on.
No, you're gone.
All right. So apparently
We're
this
gonna
is
make a
just
movie.
like handling a nipple.
Okay.
So more pinch really hard than isn't. I'm going to pinch the nipple.
Okay, I'll pull focus now.
Work.
I need the back of your head, sir, and the front of yours.
It works at night.
Do you know? No, it's usually Ben that does
Okay, okay, the sound of silence, because he's off camera and not talking, and Armageddon on that. Come on.
Still a double.
Whatever. Yes, I can do this.
Thanks.
No, you have to help.
Oh, what do I need
Just
to
take
do?
this here, and then
We'll
we're...
start on Leo's face before we go down. Get out.
Wow. Really? Huh. We gonna make a movie?
How does this work?
I don't know.
This is awesome.
I'm usually over there.
Okay, what happens if I twist this?
Hey,
What?
want to tune my mandolin?
Oh,
come on!
What is wrong with you?
His words.
Sure.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Tag.
Yo.
You are lucky. You are going to add Azahel's move list and weapon to yours. Your
Move list?
Yeah, your beast form's rules will change to the beast form rules of his, but the shape will remain the wolf creature.
Dude.
Yeah, you would have been a very different character if you decided to lock away the source of all your power, but it seems like you just got a little boon there. Okay. There's a tempest of magic as the party is warped back to the present. Before the door can swing shut behind you, however, a long knife whizzes past and slams into it, destroying the lock. When you turn to see where it came from, you find Steve Irwin standing in the center of the large hall. On his hands are 2 punch daggers grown of crystal. He is wearing a heavy set of similar armor and a large plumed helm. Violet, held in place with one of Steve Irwin's crystal blades pressed against her throat, says, "I'm sorry, Tag. When I heard what was happening, I had to try and buy you more time. When he caught me, he read my mind and learned your plan." "Crikey, enough, you," Steve says. He tosses her aside and she's caught by one of his parallel warriors. "What's done is done. Thanks, by the way. I was having a hell of a time with that door."
What do you want with the door?
"Oh, we made a mistake all those years ago. I don't mean me, I mean the royal we, humanity, the continuum's best. You know, banishing the malice. And now we're paying the price. I will release our true lord, he of balance, and allow his hand to smooth the roughest edges of this system. And in return, I think I'll have him make me a king or something."
Wait. Sorry, man. You think you're gonna release Azahel, and he's gonna make you a king? That's the plan.
Oh yeah, obviously he's been trying to destroy all the planets this whole time, and not succeeding.
What's he like? I don't know much about the guy.
Azahel?
Yeah.
The Herald of Malice?
The Herald of Malice. What's his deal?
The Monster of Muck?
The Monster of Muck.
Magic Vacuum. Oh yeah, he's crazy. We don't know much about him. We only have the sacred texts, but it says that he was the antithesis to the continuum. He was what she was not. He was a devourer of worlds, a consumer of magic. And it was said that he had a battery of the stuff, saved over from eons worth of recycling, that could power an arsenal more powerful than anything this system had ever seen.
Well, hey, look, you seem like you got a whole thing prepared. Like a big, it's a big moment for you. You've been leading up to this for a while, right? This conquest to get to Azahel.
Yeah, I was in exile for several decades, if we can remember. I did everything I could to escape. I went up against the Parallel Order, had to escape them, come out of hiding, take over the monastery, unseat the current head, take his position, learn all the administrative duties, kind of restructure the parallel system, create an army. I've been really building towards this,
I understand. Look, what's done is done, and obviously I don't want you to feel bad about how you spent your whole life, it sounds like. I wish you just like send me a quick holler on the VidCon. I actually know the guy.
What?
Yeah, crazy small world. But he's my dad.
What?
Yeah, he is my dad. And anyway, I'd be happy to still introduce you to. I will warn you, I don't think you share ideology as much as you believe.
Doesn't he want to destroy the system?
I don't think he does. I'm sorry, man.
Does he still have a big magical battery to power his arsenal?
He's very... you know what? I shouldn't speak for him. I turn to the group. Why don't we just cut to the chase? And I'll just open I'll knock on the door politely. Just open a little crack. Hey, Popsicle.
Yes.
Hey, so are you busy?
No.
Okay. There's a guy who wants to meet you.
He steps out of the door. And Steve Irwin, his knees buckle, and he kneels before him. And says, Your Highness, the Ministry of Malice, the Muck Monster Supreme, oh, you, devourer of magical entities. We are here to serve you and release your wrath upon the system. And Azahel, you know, kind of surveys the room. There's Steve Irwin down there, big armor thing. Violet's kind of being held off to the side by a parallel guy. There's like 4 elite parallel warrior dudes like flanking Steve Irwin. Just kind of looks around the room.
I'm gonna give my dad just like a very subtle like.
Oh, okay. He'll turn to you and he'll look at that and be like, "Oh, got it." And he'll turn to Steve Irwin and say, "Well, just so happens that Tag here has just been named the Herald of Malice on this plane of existence, and will heretofore see to all of the duties performed by the Malice in this realm. Peace be with you." And he turns back to you, puts his back to Steve Irwin, and just goes like, and he just walks away. Steve Irwin's like, "Wait!" And the Malice turns, Azahel turns back, and Steve Irwin says, "But don't you still have a giant battery of magical energy to power your arsenal?" Azahel's like, "Well, yeah, of course." It's like, "All right." And as soon as Half-Dad goes back into the room, or Dad goes back into the room and closes the door behind him, it kind of bangs on the dagger. Steve Irwin's like, "We'll just settle on the battery of magic then, and power our own arsenal. Just so we're clear, I'm gonna kill all of you now."
Oh. Nah.
The 4 elite parallels charge you. They are going to not get time to attack. It's going to take all of what we will consider their movement as their move. But it's going to actually be... I think, Tag, you can go first.
Oh. Okay. Well, look, I know that we had a rough moment, but I think I'm going to go for... Violet is being held by Mr. Crikey or by a parallel elite?
Just figure there's Steve Irwin and then 4 parallel elite, and then off to the side there's like the dude who's holding Violet. He's like, "Hey, I'm just here to hold Violet."
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to deal with that first. And I'm gonna use Tag's new powers, because he can feel them and it becomes instinct, and so he's just gonna shoot out a hand, send out some little inklings. Oh, hey, man, genetics. Am I right? That's gonna be 14.
Sweet. You're using Malice?
I'm using Malice.
Okay. Are you just dealing it as an attack, or do you want it to accomplish something?
I'm so sorry. I don't have his stats, just his abilities, so that is a 13. Okay. I wanted to.
Yeah. Wow.
I want to free Violet.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to play the peacekeeper here.
Sure.
If this hurts the dude, yeah, get the fuck off my friend.
Sure. I think that it just like slaps on his face and kind of starts to suffocate him, and he has to let go of her to peel it away. It's gonna deal 3 harm. When you just know this. When use Malice is used as an attack, it deals 3 harm. Against both, but as magic. So yeah, he's just like clawing at his face, and Violet gets free, which brings us to Sam.
Sam gets his karate hands ready and is going to rush forward without thinking and just bull rush Steve Irwin while he's dealing with the Malice, and do like a super ram into his exposed rib cage.
You can do all of that, but he's not the one with the Malice on his face.
Oh,
just
it
so
was
clear.
It was the person,
side dude. He's the side
dude who's holding Violet.
Yeah, but you can still do this attack on Steve Irwin.
Okay, well then I'm going to change a little bit then, because if Steve Irwin isn't distracted, Sam is going to run and just do like a flash punch, like a Captain Falcon, like just going for like one of those crazy running haymakers.
Okay.
That is an 11.
And that's on Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin.
All right. What's your damage?
3.
Okay. He's got some hefty armor on, Sam. And you punch him in the plumed helm, and you just feel it reverberate up your arm. And though he flinches, he doesn't take any damage. None of that gets through his armor. But because you rolled a full success, he does not counterattack you.
Well, good luck in this battle, guys.
Rex.
I think Rex is feeling a little bit of Sly still moving through her. And so as one of the parallels comes charging at her, you see her look like she's frozen in indecision. And then at the last second, like, turn just away so that the parallel and pull out Graflex and aim for the back of the knees.
Swing it.
That is a 7.
Okay. Yeah, you wallop him. How much damage does Graflex deal?
I think 3.
Okay.
It might be up to 4 now, but I know for sure at least 3.
Okay.
It might be 4.
These cats are not wearing armor, they're just wearing robes. They're very cool looking robes, so I don't want to give you guys the wrong impression. They're tailored to each of their body types, which are unique. They have like piping around all of the they're great, but they don't have any armor. And they smash into the wall behind you and lose their footing. Bryn. Oh, sorry. One of the other parallels, they're all holding different weapons. One has a staff, one has nunchucks, one has sais, and one of them has a sword. And the one with the staff clocks you for 3 harm in response. It does not bypass any armor. Bryn.
Okay, I have just a couple questions. One, we're in a part of the castle, right?
You're in the Hall of Doors, the same place that the vision just took place.
So we're not in the real world.
You are.
Oh, we are. Okay.
You were in this room in the far past.
Okay, so...
When you were a summoner, that vision you had took place in this same room. Now that you're in the present day version of that room. Just to make it even more complicated.
And none of the people that are with Steve Irwin we recognize, right? These are just like typical...
They're just like parallel goons. Yeah. Tag might recognize one of them's the douchebag from the Foursquare flashback. And you could tell like he didn't even really need to be convinced.
Okay. So with the chaos that's going on, do you think that I could slip to a corner and use my face stealing magic to change into somebody else?
I think so.
I would like to do that and change into Gilvia, please.
Awesome. All right, roll it. I believe there are some pretty nasty consequences on this guy if you fail, right?
13!
Okay, you are now Gilvia. What would you like to do as Gilvia?
I would like to walk into Steve Irwin's eyesight and be like, Steven, what are you doing?
Oh.
Hashtag aside, well now we're dealing with a bunch of malice-worshipping loonies. Let's hear what the heir has to say about the attempts on his life by his own cultists.
Steve Irwin?
Heir?
Yeah,
that
Tag.
Connor?
That makes sense. Yeah. They should be worshiping you. It's a good point. It's a very good point.
Gilvia walks in and says her piece. Steve Irwin turns to look and gasps, and then Tag steps into frame, and we settle into a nice close-up action.
Wow, isn't this awkward? I'm only the monster of muck for 1 whole minute, and already there's drama. Well, I guess that's what happens when you're the Titan of Terror. Thanks, Dad. Anyway, boy, this is going to be tricky to work out. I think we're going to have to kick the shit out of Steve Irwin and all of his little punk-ass friends. I'm going to wipe the snot right out of their noses and smear it across their butt cheeks. Is that what the writers have? They've made a final pass on that? That's the line? Okay.
There's a couple of people in Video Village who lean around their monitors and they're like...
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Wow. That's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna be energized thanks to my nice cool beverage from Thermoflask. Thermoflask, bringing you the best action in the continuum since, well, ever. Okay.
You got that right. He ducks out of the frame, and Steve Irwin says, Gilvia, I'm sorry. I'm just, well, I'm trying to murder all these fools.
What? Why?
It's a long story. I don't feel like we got time to get into it.
Well, I've got an answer for you. About the thing you propositioned me about earlier. I thought maybe we could go talk about it.
Right now.
Wait. Mm-hmm.
I feel like if it was a yes, maybe you could just jump in and help me. And if it's a no, I'd rather not leave.
Well, I don't know how good I feel about murdering random people.
Not random. Not random. One of them is the Herald of Malice. One of them works for the company which you despise. I don't... Honestly, that guy, I don't know who he is. He doesn't really fit into... he's new. I don't know who he is. But, and there was a summoner here. Summoner, that'd clear up another spot in the council, if you're still eyeballing that.
Oh, that's true. And then I'm gonna walk up to him, and I'm just gonna get really close to his face, and then whisper in his ear, and then I would like to hypnotize him.
Okay. You're going to roll this. We've never done this, but I'm going to make you roll it at disadvantage, so you'll roll it twice the way that you would in D&D and take the low.
Rough.
A 10.
Okay.
Or 9.
Okay. You're going to take the partial success. Steve Irwin is a psychic, and so the closer you got to him, the more difficult it will be for you to use any kind of mind powers on him. But you do get a partial success. So what would you like to do? I believe you get to give him one command.
Yes. Is Violet still being held?
No, she's recently been freed by Tag.
Okay. I would like to tell Steve Irwin to call off his goons and fight everybody like a real man and totally impress me. And if he can pull it off just by himself, I'll agree to having him be my parallel.
Excellent.
That's a run-on sentence then.
Yeah, he'll do it. If you'd gotten a failure, I think he would have just immediately recognized that you were Bryn, but a partial success will get that one thing. Yeah, he stands up and says, "Hey, you lot!" And he points to the parallels. One of them's like helping up the other one who just got pulverized by Rex. And they're like, "Oh, boss, you're talking to us, boss. Hey, boss, you talking to us?" And he's like, "I'm gonna take care of this myself. Because I'm the new king of the galaxy. I'm the new minister of minuscule... I'm gonna work out my title. Soon. Mucus! Mucus! Minister of minuscule mucus.
Maybe just fight.
You got it! And, the parallels, very confused, start to leave. And exit out the one door. They have to go around you guys because there's only the one door that doesn't go to a portal. And he goes, "All right, watch this." And he's going to do an attack. And I wrote down what it does. I'm going to roll the dice once. 1. Cool. I just need to see what the door descriptions. I just have descriptions for the doors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the
they're
heavy
all really
brass
cool
door.
doors.
Huh?
They're all really cool doors. They all have
They're
to have really intricate explanations.
Yeah. Yeah, intricate. No, this is just a heavy brass door off to the side, one of the floating doors. And at Steve Irwin's command, he points to it, and the brass door opens, and from out of it explodes a ray of void energy, which hits Rex's odds, Sam's is evens. It hits Rex for 3 harm magic. Sorry? Yes, 3 harm magic.
I think I'm unstable then.
Uh-oh. The tank's going down. Tag, your turn. That attack was due to the mixed success nature of the hypnosis.
You're muted. I think.
I also
something so clever y'all don't even know. It was witty and in Portuguese, which I am fluent in. Don't test me. Tag C, that does render you unstable, Rex?
4 is unstable, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
unstable.
I was gonna help you out, but you're pretty good. You got 4 left.
No.
She's
Sorry,
got 3.
that's the amount of harm that I have sustained, so I am at 3.
It still feels like you're pretty good. I have a glaive. I want to use it.
Do it, man.
Yeah. He's just gonna step right up to the Minister of Minuscule Mucus and kind of
Working title.
I understand, but you know the first one out tends to stick, so you've made your own bed here. And he's gonna swing down like hitting one of those hammer carnival game things.
Okay.
Oh, so
what does Rex really think? Hashtag aside.
Yeah, Tag in the background is just swinging this thing down as Rex just pivots into frame. We settle into a close-up. Action.
I gotta be honest, I am insanely jealous of that glaive. It is massive and it looks so freaking cool, and I can't believe that idiot gets to use it and I don't. I think that's, I don't know. It's unfair. It's unjust, is really what I think. And I think probably we're going to fight about it at some point. I don't think it's going to be like a mean fight, but I'm definitely going to throw a drink in his face later.
She pivots out of the frame and Tag crashes down with the glaive. What did you roll?
do I roll strength on these? Because I ain't that strong.
We will consider the glaive a finesse weapon. So you can either choose strength or dex. You ain't gonna get that sweet magic roll on the glaive attack, however.
Yeah. 10.
That's pretty good.
I'll keep thinking about that because it feels like it's not a dexterous weapon. At least not the way, especially when I described it as the sledgehammer strength test at the carnival. I'll use my strength. We'll call it an 8 for this time, and I'll think about how to kind of tool it in so that
This
it
is
makes
the way that I would say. He's handing you a magical weapon made of malice. It would conform to fit you. He's not going to give you like a clunker that you can't lift over your head. It's supposed to be the weapon you conquer the galaxy with. So it would become slimmer. The blade would become finer. You know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a 10. Twist my arm.
So we should remember that in our brain, when he handed you over the weapon, it was this monstrous like strength weapon. And when he handed it to you, it like conformed into a much more lithe ninja weapon, and we watched it change.
Cool.
In that case, Rex's aside will also include, and he completely ruined that weapon.
Deal your damage. What is it?
3. And then I get my corrupt roll.
Yeah.
My corrupt roll is a 9.
Okay. What you do is when the blade cleaves through his armor, it actually sheds off a piece. So he's going to lose one of his armor points. And you can see the malice starting to eat through it. Sam.
All right. Distracted and not seeing that Tag has removed the armor, I had already sort of decided what Sam was going to do, so I'm going to follow through with that. Believing his attack's ineffectual, he's going to run to Rex and attempt to heal her.
Sweet.
In case this affects what you do, I just remembered that I have Berserk, which means I can't quite remember, but I feel like it means that I don't feel any of the effects of the harm that I'm taking until...
You do not take any harm during battle, and then as soon as battle completes, you take all of it at once. So it is possible for Rex to rage through a battle and then die right afterwards, just so we're clear.
Great, let's keep her alive. So.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes, that is like a 14.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm so
Did we
alive.
give you your own new healing spell? If not, I'm just going to use...
This one says 2 harm.
Yeah, so you're healed 2 harm, Rex.
I also forgot that I also have that one where if I take harm, I then get a +1 to all the harm that I'm doing.
Yeah, so you're dealing 4 damage with Graflex now. What does it look like since you cast this spell, Sam? Magic's new to you, man. We've heard about everybody else's magic at length. You know, just give us a taste.
So Sam like runs over towards Rex and, you know, thinking that it's, you know, time is like more like of the essence, he like dives down and is sliding like foot first past her, and he runs his hand along like her boot and up her leg and like ends like where he comes to a stop like above her, so his hands are like cradling her head basically, and there's sort of this triangle of light that like frames her head, and you there's like a chakral line that like a lightning bolt that like shoots down her body, and just the pain and damage is like ripped out of the out of her body.
Rad.
Very
Rad.
cool.
I feel like if I can add just a little ribbon to it, when the pain and the harm leaves her body, I feel like it's dark purple smoke. You know, like when you see people who have been running and sweating really hard in the cold and that like steam is just coming off of them, I feel like it's like a dark purple smoke that leaves.
Cool.
Rex.
I think that hits like in the movies when someone has just done steroids and they're just like,
right.
So I think she just pops up and like this giant hulking smoking purple beast has picked up Graflex and is just swinging for Steve Irwin's rib cage.
Swing it.
That's double sixes, my friend.
Whoa.
So that's a 14, 15.
So you deal 4 damage now. I'm also going to give you a bonus and say that you peel off another of his armor slots, basically. You just crash Graflex right into his chest plate, and it actually like caves in. And when he falls backwards, it falls off of him, and you've just like broken the housing of it. And he's now like getting up on those little crystal daggers, like, and he raises himself up, but he is feeling it. Okay. Bryn, 'tis you.
Rex still has harm, correct?
A little bit.
Yeah, just 2 harm.
Just 2 harm. Well, feeling a little bit of horse inside of me. Just a touch. I'm going to use my staff to hit Steven's head like a baseball.
Excellent. We're going to give it what the summoners were using in the vision, so it's going to deal 3 harm, magic and physical.
Okay.
Roll it. But you
What
do
do
have to
I
roll
add?
strength. You can use strength or dex. We'll say a staff is also a finesse weapon, but you don't get that sweet, sweet magic roll.
Okay, it's an 8.
Okay. You clock him, and it deals 3 damage, which he absorbs 1 of. And he reaches up before you can pull it away and grabs the staff and yanks you forward and punches you right in the chest with that clawed dagger.
No.
Well,
my answer is no.
Where
FYI.
the fuck is my sheet? I got all your guys' sheets up. Slice and dice! 3 harm, physical and magic. Which means...
Wait, what does that mean? Because I've got armor against both.
It just means that your armor applies then. If you only had armor against physical, this could bypass it with magic. If you only had armor against magic, it could bypass it with physical. Any attack that does both is brutal.
We're in the middle of a fight now.
This dog has no concern for what's going on here. So you take 3 harm.
Okay, but if I have 2 armor versus magic, is that just 1 harm?
Yes.
Okay.
Your really cool summoner robes absorb most of the trouble, but he does punch you and you go flying backwards. And some of those crystal blades on the edge of his little Vega gloves go through your armor.
Your Doge, bro. Your Doge is...
Tag. You're on mute, my dude.
Well, look, I'm kind of new to video conferencing. You know, I'm not used to being on these like Zoom Skype calls. Okay, it's all strange.
I think we're seeing another effect of the malice.
Is it sass? Because I am feeling rather sassy. Look, I'm in the game, man. He's got this glaive. I'm gonna do it again. Like,
hit him.
What am I gonna? Yeah. What am I kidding? Okay, 7.
Okay. What's your damage on that?
3.
Okay. He takes 2 of that. He's not looking too hot now. He's actually kind of cut up and bloody. All of his armor's been fucked up. The feather on his helmet's like bent, you know, like it goes up and then just goes sideways. And you hit him with a glaive, and repeating exactly what he just did to Bryn, he snatches it before you can pull it away and hits you with his left gauntlet, and deals 3 harm, physical and magic.
Okay.
And just whops you right in the chest.
I rolled a 9 on the corruption. So, because he's a boss, I'll let you tell me how it works. Target must obey 1 command given by you. Then the corruption is purged.
Sure, you can give him 1 command or get rid of his last piece of armor. I will leave the choice to you.
Because I already did the armor thing, I'm going to just... his command is to let in the next attack that comes at him.
Nice. Okay.
Kind of 6-1, half dozen of the other, but it feels narratively a little different. I want to open him up to Sam. I want Sam, if Casey so chooses, to be able to get slugging.
What we'll do to make this a mechanical thing is that you are going to pass a +2 onto Casey for his next attack, and it is his turn.
All right. Sam has been watching this, and as Steve Irwin punches Bryn in the chest and sends her flying back, it's like Sam, like as before when she was struck by one of the parallels, he socked, what was that dude's name? Philip? Something like that?
Yeah, you just fucking clocked that guy.
I think Sam has like a seeing red moment of like just like clearly has lost perspective on like something about going through the portals and then like coming back here. He just sees red, and without even realizing that the Steve Irwin's defenses have like diminished, just charges right back in, just absolutely like one of those crazy movie punches, like where the fist is like all the way back, where in real life there's no way you'd ever hit anybody because they'd have like 3 weeks to like buy plane tickets and book a hotel room and like miss their first flight and then have a layover and still get out of the way of the punch. But yeah, going for it.
Now remember, you get an additional +2.
Okay, so that's a 13.
Okay. Describe your hit. It goes through.
So I think it transforms from being like sort of this comedy punch into, as it straightens out, it's one of those strikes that you can tell has bad intent. Like, this is not a like, oh, I'm trying to knock you out. This is a try to put your fist like through a person type strike, as if like he wanted to reach, like just push his hand all the way through his chest. And I think it ends up being sort of like a hand stab type strike. Yeah.
All right. It connects, and you can feel bones break when you hit, and he goes flying backwards and tumbles over several times. And he lays still for a moment, and you think maybe the fight's over. But then he again, clicks his gauntlets into the ground and lifts himself up. And he's bleeding out of his nose and his mouth and his ears, and he's covered in like malice juice, and just his armor's all fucked up. His feathers like not even there anymore. And he just says, all right, I guess I'm just gonna have to get serious about this then. And you can see that he's winding up to do an ult. And when he puts out his hands, all 6 of the doors in the hall fly open, and you can just hear this massive buildup of energy. And then he says, "Ah!" because Violet has stepped up behind him, flipped her tonfa around, and slit his throat. In a very un-Void Jumpers-like moment, there is a spray of blood before Steve Irwin falls forward onto his face and dies. And Violet is standing there holding her tonfa up and flips it back around. Muted.
Vi, that was fucked up. I mean, I know I'm the like big scary one now, but that was crazy.
He threatened your life. It does things to a person.
Thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Since Sam was just in front of Steve Irwin, he just like wipes like the blood like off his face.
It might have been nice to question him or talk more about, who was involved in all of this, but
it seems like just a power grab. Not to be reductive, but he seemed like he just wanted pretty classic world domination stuff here.
Also, all we had to do was slit his throat. That was so easy. Why didn't we do that?
To be fair, a lot of damage was dealt to him before that moment, and Sam's final punch was choice.
Okay. I changed back to Bryn. What?
Bryn?
Well, yeah. Hi.
I figured that your spell dropped the moment you took any kind of aggressive action.
Okay. So what was he calling? What was the energy that he was calling forth to the doors?
The door's still open.
Yeah. He was able to. Yeah, so the fight's over, and these are Violet can answer a lot of these questions. The first one that she answers is the door question. Steve Irwin has spent time trying to obtain all of the secrets and powerful items of this monastery, and he found the keys to all 6 doors and put them into his gauntlets, which allowed him to open them at will. And when they open, there is usually an outpouring of energy. He was not summoning it so much as shaping it in a way that both Tag and I have been on track to learn in the parallel order. So when he would open the doors, whatever was behind them, in this case, the planets would release energy and he would direct it to attack you. You're lucky he didn't get that ult off. As far as who he's working for, Violet says, we've been running counterintelligence on this guy for as long as he's been in control of the monastery and outed us. It was a power grab, I guess. Tag is right. There was no puppet master. I think that there was a lot tied up into how Steve Irwin viewed the relationship between the parallels and the summoners and what was being asked of them. And I think at some point, possibly decades ago in his early exile, he had developed a philosophy of balance and perhaps freeing the parallel order from their servitude to the summoners. But over the course of many, many years in exile, that soured into something much more straightforward and violent.
What does this mean for the council?
This is Jesse talking, not Violet. So happy you would ask. We're not going to deal with that today. We are moving. We have a little bit of time left, and there are a couple scenes that I would like to do. But just so to take the pressure off of you, we will consider this kind of a soft finale of the Silva Celesso arc. And we're going to be moving into our final arc next week. And so that's big. We're going to change the way the game is played. You will find out how and why. But for the most part, all of the big decisions that need to be made do not need to be decided today. We're going to change how we structure play. And you all will be tasked with making several of the big decisions. We will set it up narratively. So in the scenes that follow, don't concern yourself too much with coming up with hard and fast choices for the big picture. We can focus on the micro because the next arc is going to be very much the macro.
Cool.
Yeah. So Steve Irwin is vanquished. Well done, you guys. You fought the Continuum, you banished Azahel, and you killed Steve Irwin.
Well, let's not get too excited about banishing Azahel. He seems like he was actually a pretty cool dude after all. Just wanted a little T-shirt with everybody's name on it.
It seems like Azahel and Steve Irwin had the same plan, except Azahel was open to love and had somebody who loved him. Steve Irwin did not.
Well, he definitely screwed it up with Gilvia. He could have had somebody.
Gilvia's interested in somebody else.
Uh-huh.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Eros touch, baby.
So we have Violet here. This is the first scene that I will offer to you all. I know that Tag has a more personal connection with her, but then I have a list of other scenes that I'd like to get to before we end. So is there any other moment you'd like to have with Violet? This can be individual or as a group or both. You will be able to structure these scenes however you'd like. Or this scene. I got some ideas for the rest of them.
I'll talk to her if nobody else is trying to, but I don't want to just monopolize all the scenes. Yeah.
Sure. When you see her, she's a little shaken up. She's not proud of herself for what she did to Steve Irwin. But, you know.
I have a question. Do I know that she was supposed to be my parallel? I wouldn't have known that, right? I wouldn't have been told
maybe
that.
Tag told you.
I think we would have talked about at this point. I think we would have talked about.
But
that.
I mean, I didn't know at the time that, like, she was slated to be my parallel at the time.
No.
That's a decision for us to make together. I if I remember correctly, I think, a human time year ago, I think that I mentioned something. I think that I confessed in some manner to Bryn it was not supposed to be me pretty early on. And I think we can assume that even if we didn't see it in the show, that at some point they talked about Violet in that way. I think Tag would have felt a lot of guilt and a desire to bring her up.
Okay.
I'd love to, if Lisa, if you got some juice in you, I'd love to see that Bryn Violet scene. But I don't.
Yeah, but you had a scene, so I don't want to step on your toes.
I could. Yeah, I'll start us off and I'll try to get out of here quick. Hey, thanks.
Thank you. If you guys hadn't shown up, I don't know that we would have been able to retake the monastery.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Quite a year.
Yeah. She's really lucky to have you as her parallel, Tag. I don't know that I could have stood where you are and done what you've done.
No, I actually wanted to talk to you about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for saying that. I mean, that's very sweet of you, but boy. This is uncomfortable for me because you are my friend. And even that sound, look, there's no reason for me to make something. You know what's going on. You know that we haven't really talked. And that's on me too. I felt guilty and weird and like I was taking something from you and like it was my fault that you weren't the parallel to begin with. It's taken me a really long time to feel comfortable saying, yeah, I am a parallel, but still talking to you, I don't know what to say. If I don't like it. I think about you a lot, and I don't know how to juggle these two worlds. The one in which this is my life, and I now have for the last year been this person, done this job, made this relationship with Bryn, and with the other part of me that feels like I hurt you, tricked you, took something from you. I'm just talking now. I don't know. I'm
Tag,
sorry.
This all is so much bigger than we ever could have imagined. And your place in this is at Bryn's side. If you are the herald of malice, then without you, this entire catastrophe, a system-wide catastrophe, wouldn't have been diverted. And if it makes you feel better, I don't think that you could have done what I did here at the monastery when Steve Irwin came. And so I couldn't have saved the world, but you couldn't have saved all of our friends.
Yeah, I never quite knew how to stand up for people like you did. I'm not looking for you to make me feel better, but thank you. I can't pretend like it doesn't. It does. I guess it's just how stuff works out. But I will say that I'm sorry for disappearing. That sucked. I was just ashamed, so I just didn't engage, and I'm sorry.
She puts a hand on your shoulder and then telepathically says, "We've been friends for a long time, Tag, and it's going to stay that way." Bryn, did you have a moment that you'd like?
Sure. I think I just like to walk up to her and just look at her for a minute and You were supposed to be my parallel.
I was.
I don't really know why you decided not to, and I don't really care, but I just want to say thank you because Tag is the best person that I've ever met, and without your decision, I never would have been able to meet him. So
She takes a moment to digest this, and I think she's looking at Tag while she does, and she says, I mean no disrespect, Summoner, but I think I made the right decision.
also, you have really cool hair, I guess.
And you got really cool robes. That dude punched you right in the chest and they absorbed the whole thing.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty great. I mean, sometime if you ever like want to do some like free range magic or something, I guess we could.
Cool. I'll
Just
make sure
as
that Tag has my of course, just as friends, no connection. I'll make sure that Tag has my information. Okay. She walks away. So here's how the next bit's going to go. I think that you guys are at the monastery for a couple days. So these scenes that happen next are going to happen over the course of these days. As the monastery is put back together, the parallels, the skull-faced army returns. Those who were sided with Steve Irwin are kind of like weeded out, and those who were like indoctrinated in like the Mass Effect sense were like brought back, and like, you know, like there's a lot of repair going, both personal and like structural. So there's just like a couple days of this, and so these next scenes, I have a scene for each of you, are going to be in that time. I'm really just looking for like a bit of like a bit of closure with each of these, and just to kind of set up where we go from here. The first one's going to be between Gilvia and Sam.
Oh.
Sam, where would you like this scene to take place?
I think it takes place up where in that bowl area where Tag took us.
Where you guys are doing slides on the gym roof?
Yeah, but I think it's during the daytime, and I think Gilvia would have found Sam up there sunbathing. Just the most non-drinking part of Sam, just blissed out in the sun.
Sure. To be clear, she kind of like Iron Man raises up on hands that are just like expelling magic and levitates up to the top. But she sets down very lightly and sits down next to you and says, Samuel, I was hoping that we would get a chance to catch up.
Gilvia, good to see you. I'm glad that you were not the parallel of Steve Irwin when everything went the way that it did.
Me too. That would have been a sticky situation. As of now, I don't have to worry about any of the consequences from that, which is very nice for me.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping for when I stumbled in on you guys.
I'll say, Sam, that I took your advice and I slept on it, and I saw that the decisions that I were making were not in my own best interest. I do have a lot of power now, and I am not necessarily aligned with the company. I was hoping that maybe you could give me one more piece of advice. I just need a direction to head in. And I don't know that the monastery will accept me, nor will I be able to assume my seat at a summoner's council anytime soon. If you were in my shoes, what would you do?
If I was in your shoes. You know, there's a lot of good that can be done. And, I honestly don't know if I'm in a position to give you any advice at all. I think maybe I would just have to say, what is it in all your years of travel through space, all your journeying, all your learning, what is it that you wish to bring into this plane?
Well, all that's changed because I am, in a very real sense, a completely different person. So I suppose I could try and walk the path of righteousness. The system is in turmoil. There are many resources needed in very many places, and I think a voice of reason and of strength could help those places. And I think that for a while I could try that.
The thing that I observed, or have been observing, is how incredible the bonding of summoner to parallel is. How complete they seem to make each other, the balance that they bring to each other, the trust that they bring to each other. Perhaps instead of you becoming a parallel, it is time for you to take on a parallel so that you may advance your understanding of your own skills, advance your understanding of yourself by truly getting to know another.
I would like that very much. Are you asking to wash my feet, Sam?
No, they have a whole school of people here who are well trained for this. In fact, even parallels that were responsible for finishing off Steve Irwin, you, I believe, would be in the incredible hands with a couple of people that are here, and I can only imagine that they would get as much out of that relationship as you would. There may be space for you here more than you think.
Okay, this is going to be a taste of where we go in the next arc. So, Sam, from what I gather from the scene, you are suggesting that Gilvia obtain a parallel. Choose a skill, any that you'd like, justify why you're using it, and then roll to determine the success Gilvia will have obtaining a parallel.
Okay.
Now, this could come from this scene, or it could be some way in which you will influence this happening in the future.
Okay. It's going to be a magic roll.
Okay.
Trying to channel some amount of serendipity for this meeting with who her parallel is to be, so that it's not just like a go down the line, like, oh, what is your resume? What are your qualifications? Not one of those awkward dinner dates where you sit down and you ask them the same 8 questions everybody asks and answer in the same way, and you've established that you actually know nothing about the person. Instead, trying to ensure that Gilvia is in touch with her own feelings and her own impulses and instincts, so that should the cosmic tumblers align, she'll know that, and hopefully the parallel will also know that there is an opportunity there for growth.
Okay, roll it.
That's an 11.
Sweet. Okay, Gilvia has one request, and it's that she can get a spot on Haven to fly around the galaxy with you for just a little bit, because she's not quite ready to settle down. But then I am going to grant you this wish, Sam. So, in the days that come, with careful planning and magical influence from Sam, Gilvia and Violet have a very serendipitous meeting. And they bond in a way that convinces Violet to bring the request to the head of the Parallel Order, who has come out of the dungeons, having been locked down there by Steve Irwin. His name is Fitzroy Montgo, which I believe is a chat name, to petition Fitzroy Montgo to allow Violet to take the Parallel's oath to Gilvia. There is not an easy decision that gets made because she is not technically a summoner. But sensing that he doesn't have much of a choice one way or another, Fitzroy does give his blessing to Violet for, in turn for everything she did for the Order while Steve Irwin had attacked. And
That's also
so,
not technically a parallel, so there is in fact some serendipity there.
yeah, and so they they complete the ceremony. Violet washes her feet. They form a psychic bond, and she is now Gilvia, her parallel. So there you go. Well done, Sam. Rex. Actually, we're going to do Rex last.
Cool choice, Casey. Very cool.
Very cool. This is how it's going to be structured. So we're going to kind of play with this formula right now, but moving forward, this is kind of how it's going to go. It'll be inverted in some cases. So we roll first, scene second, but in other times it'll be scene first, roll second. Next is going to be Bryn. Bryn. You are summoned to your mother's new suite in the guest mansion, Bryn. She wants to catch up with you after everything that you did. You are able to tell her everything that happened in the vision, everything that, if you'd like to.
Sure.
I'm just hand waving, kind of not forcing you to give her a lot of exposition, but
Right.
You can catch her up on everything that's happened till this point. You guys actually have a lot more time to talk than you have in the past, and you're able to fill her in detail on a lot of your missions, not just this one. But she says, Bryn, I knew that you'd been wanting to talk to me about more than just what you've been up to lately.
Yep. So Gilvia made an interesting comment, and I'm starting to realize that it's not all that normal for me to be able to access all magic, all elements.
Yes.
And I know that you can't, and why am I so different?
I don't know for sure, Bryn. Varik was very interested in that early on and ran several tests, and based on what he found out, I'll tell you what I think. But it's true that most summoners, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but most summoners cannot access magic outside of that of their planet. And those that can rarely obtain more than one or two additional elements. The fact that you were born with the ability to cast all is something that I think has to do with your father, but I also like to think that there's just a little bit of the continuum in you as well.
Do you think it has anything to do with that, like, big magical warfare that happened right before I was born? I mean, it blessed the waters with healing power. Who knows?
I blessed the waters with healing power, Bryn, when I tried to bring your father back to life.
What?
I'm going to tell you something now, Bryn. And I remember a time in my past when my mother shared an equally important secret with me, though very different from the one I'm going to share now. It seems we fire summoners have a knack for causing trouble. I fell in love with your father, and we decided to wed, though we were cautioned against it because... any summoner who has a child with anyone but a bonded parallel usually, well, it doesn't work very well.
What do you mean it doesn't work very well? I've had relations with non-parallels that work just fine.
It's not the relations, Bryn, it's the act of the conception itself. There are rituals required in order for a summoner to reach pregnancy, or in the case of male summoners, to grant it. And it's not just a physical experience. There is magic involved, and we were cautioned that it would be dangerous or impossible or both, and we decided to go through with it anyways because we were in love, Bryn, and I don't give a fuck about what anybody says in regards to what I should or shouldn't be doing. And so I married the man that I loved, and we decided to have a child. And in that, your father was killed. And in my rage afterwards, I destroyed the palace and much of the surrounding city.
You're saying that Dad died because of me?
No, I'm saying that Dad died because of me.
And you kept this from me? This is like mind-blowingly large lie.
Yes. And we covered it up. What's that dude's name? The Void Summoner's name? Dietrich happened to be planetside when this was going on a diplomatic mission. And after some bribery and coercing, he agreed to carry forth the lie that the palace was destroyed during a summoner's duel. Something I'm sure you're familiar with.
Holy shit. Yeah.
And he's held that over me for our entire lives.
So, this is a lot to unpack. I can't have children unless it's with my parallel, is what you're telling me.
Yes. But there's no
Has
obligation.
anyone had a kid successfully without killing their spouse or their person?
I don't know. Summoner
Dad know?
houses. Yes, your father knew. Though he was more hesitant than I was, he decided to take a risk. Brent, summoner houses are very, very protective of their lineage and of their histories. They keep all internal matters in their own archives, often destroying anything that they do not like. Our palace has been destroyed by fire summoners dozens of times. Our rule, our secret is that we cannot hold on to the power for long. And often at the end, we cling to it by any means necessary to our detriment. And it is rare, Bryn, that an heir to the Fire Throne does not take it either by force or by grief.
Maybe
And so now you know.
Right. Things should change. This is all. It just. Everything feels gross right now. I don't know how to process this information. I mean, I'm glad you told me the truth, but holy smokes. What if I decided to have a baby with some random guy?
First
and
of
no
all,
one told me.
you seem to be into girls, so
Well, I mean, it could have changed at some point.
I agree. Bryn, if you ever...
How do two women have a baby? Huh? So,
Well,
so they get some parallel to come be a sperm donor? How does that work?
That is one of the ways these things happen. I don't know the intricacies of all of it, Bryn. As I said, families are very, very tight-lipped about what goes on within the summoner houses. But there are ways that it can happen. It cannot happen accidentally. You will find that you cannot get pregnant accidentally. And when you choose to, it will require very old, very powerful magical rituals. So there will not be an accident. I did not feel the need to tell you until you seemed at a place where you would be considering it.
Okay. It must have been really hard for you.
I would have burned the world down, Bryn.
I'm glad you didn't. Okay. Is any of Dad's family still alive?
I think so.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I just hug her.
She hugs you back. It's kind of a weird and strained moment, but I think both of you need it. We're not going to make any decisions on Amelia today.
Okay.
Which brings us to Tag. You are called to Fitzroy Montgo's room. And he sits you down and serves tea, and it is very tasty. And the two of you are sitting near the fire. And I think that this is like an afternoon chat. The lights gold and beautiful coming through the window. And he says, when the malice was banished, the continuum needed a way to balance the scales. And so she summoned forth Silva Celesso and put upon it a place of learning and strength. We parallels were called to keep the balance, to take up the mantle that the malice had dropped. But I fear that that balance has been lost. I ask you, Herald of Malice.
Just Tag is fine.
Tag. What counsel might you offer us in this time of transition?
What?
You froze. I don't know if you can hear me, but you froze. He's back.
Oh, okay.
He's froze again. Wait, you're back. Go.
I'll switch to the phone for the next one. What counsel? I'm barely making decisions off the skin of my pants, teeth, the seat of my pants. I'm not about to claim to understand or take responsibility for the decisions that were made eons ago with the banishment of my dad. I don't know how Silva Celestial functions as a way. I know what my personal responsibilities are, and they're to Bryn, and they're to Rex, and they're to Sam. I'm sorry. I am all these things that I am, but I don't have all the answers.
I think he laughs a little bit and he says, Tag, forgive me. The question is far more simple than you took it. There is much that needs to be done here, and much that we need to learn and decide upon. I'm not asking you to make any ultimatum. I'm merely asking you, as someone who has seen our past, and as I've heard rumor, glimpses of our future, and a deep connection to that which was banished from this place. I'm merely asking if you had any counsel to offer so that I might weigh it with everything else.
Oh, gosh. Look, there's a lot that I really loved at this place, about this place. I made meaningful friendships here. I had delicious meals here. I learned a lot, both from books and from experiences that I had. If I may, you guys are a little precious. Malice is back in the world. We don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know what that's going to change. But I know that that doesn't render Silva Celesso obsolete. I know that everything that I am, everything I do, comes from the experiences I had here, the lessons I had here. You have to keep teaching people.
So it is of your belief that the parallel order should remain, though its place in the system is yet to be defined.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get a. Sorry, say your piece.
Nah,
I was gonna say we're gonna get a roll out of you, Tag.
Okay.
Give me any skill that you'd like to use, and then justify it in that you are counseling Fitzroy Montgo to keep the parallel order together.
I think. I think it's charm. It's not my best stat, but we're having a conversation. I think there's nothing overtly magically manipulative about it. So I'm gonna go charm. 9.
Okay. I think 9 is going to be enough. He goes forward not being set on it, but he is considering, at least for the time being, keeping the order together. Whether or not they would continue to serve the summoners, he's not decided upon. But he does recognize that this is an important and powerful place.
Yeah, I think that it's a little cart before the horse, if you don't mind me saying so. A lot is about to change in huge ways. Stuff that I can see and stuff that I cannot. But I know that wherever parallels go, whatever you call them, there's good that happens on Silva Celesso. Don't abandon that.
We won't. If I could give you any advice moving forward, it's to realize that though everything is about to change and we won't know where we, and I use the royal we here, not the parallel order, but we as a people, as a organism, don't know where we will fall and where our factions will align. In that transitional place, we cannot all wait to see what happens. Some of us will need to make decisions in order to enable change to happen. And many of those decisions will be wrong, but they will be necessary. And so I will heed your advice, Tag, and though it does feel cart before the horse, I think it is important to know where I stand and this order stands going forward so that we can at least make a choice.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're back.
Me too, Tag. Based on your role, the parallel order will stay together for now, though they are undecided on what they are going to do, meaning they are currently abstaining, Violet not counting because Gilvia was not part of the summoners, from continuing forth with the parallel pairing program until things settle down. But they will keep the order together and hold their beliefs. Our final scene for the night is going to be with Rex. Rex, you are in your room and you get a call on your vid screen, and it is from Kale. You're on mute. She says to Rex, "What, have you never used a vid screen before, Rex?"
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I have important news, but I'd like your report on what happened on Silva Celesso first, if you don't mind.
We stopped a would-be demagogue.
Interesting.
To be succinct about it.
I appreciate that. What of Gilvia?
Truly, I don't know what to make of her.
She is an odd duck.
To say the least. But she seems intelligent. If the company can keep her, I'm sure would be a good asset.
Perhaps. I have a proposition for you, Rex.
Go ahead.
Things are changing. That is the slogan of the month. Not just on Silva Celesso or the planets, but within the company. Their grasp has weakened, and I have spent my entire adult life jockeying for position inside an organization which is soon to collapse, and I don't particularly like my purpose being robbed from me.
You're a woman with purpose. I respect that.
I have cleared the company's ownership of the spaceship Haven. I have done what I can, which is considerable, I assure you, to erase it from the company's archives. I have taken the steps to register it as private ownership to one Rex. The ship is yours. Should the crew choose to stay on, they will be released from company employ, and they are yours to do what you wish. If you'd like, I can also rescind your executive status and erase your files from the company's database.
Why?
I'm going to make a move, Rex.
Sorry,
The system,
a little more than that.
the system needs something, though I think we've seen that it does not need the company. However, I am loath to relinquish the power that I hold, as I'm sure you understand. I think we have an opportunity here to establish what comes next. And if you are interested, I would very much like to bring you on as a, what's the fancy word they all use? Advisor, but cooler. It's not a trick, Rex. I just can't think of the word.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'd like you to come and help me make some of the big decisions. You would no longer work for the company. I would erase both of our parts in their database, and then I would do what I could to dismantle it from the inside. I think that this could cause an extreme bit of confusion within the system that I would like to avoid. Therefore, it would be in my interest to immediately attempt to help stabilize the system. I have a place on the Lightning Planet where we could set up. I have all of the contacts we need to reach out to the most important people in the system. It is because of you that we've made it out of this crisis, Rex, and if the only thing I can give you as a reward is a chance to see the world that comes after, I can sleep easy with that.
So what are you trying to do?
I don't know. But I'd like you to help me find out.
You know, you say you can erase us from the system, and I believe that you have that kind of skill. I also believe that people will notice when you don't show up for the company board meetings anymore. I'm not saying you haven't thought this through. I'm just saying what we're talking about right now, that's a needle in the neck at night. Okay? That's a stranger brushing up against you and slicing through your aorta. Okay?
I know. The location on the lightning planet is secret, known only to me and a select few. I believe we would be safe there while we conduct at least the initial part of our business. Rex, when I step down, I will not be the only one to do so. I've already gotten word that the board has fractured. They are starting to take sides. Many of the executives have disappeared already. Those that remain are jockeying for their positions. The company's internal structure is in chaos. I'm a rat jumping from a sinking ship. This will not be a decisive blow delivered solely by me, but from everything that has happened until this point. The old systems are cracking. What we need now is to establish who will take their place at the top of the food chain and what it is they like to eat.
And why should that be you?
After everything that happened on Void, after the death of my son, because of my actions with the OSI device, I no longer think it should. That isn't quite stopping me from prying my vicious little claws off of it, but it is why I am bringing you, Rex. It's been obvious from the very beginning your desires did not align with the company, and perhaps you could balance me. I am offering a full partnership.
Okay. Who's pulling the strings? Is it, Dietrich? Is it Meyer? This is a joke, right? Right?
This
is
is
just
real.
another level of the company trying to fuck with everyone's heads, right?
Rex, pull up another tab on the vid screen. She then directs you to just look up a couple things. The first is the registry for Haven. It checks out. It is yours. It is no longer registered with the company, and it appears that it never was. And then she has, she kind of forwards you a couple different news headlines. They're vague. Anybody outside your level within the company wouldn't know how to take them, but somebody who's been inside for as long as you can read the writing on the wall. It isn't looking good. Are you in or are you out, Rex?
I'm in.
Blackout.
Cool. Things are heating up. Okay.
Stuff happening.
All right. Jesse bringing out the big. We thought the fighting was the big guns. No, Jesse had big guns behind the big guns.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse's showing us his second form.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot in there. Not even just the last four. It's like hard moves.
Hard moves.
Hard moves.
Goodness. All right, you got a question from chat.
I do. What's the most, this from Merc? OG triple OG Merc Worky. What's the most nostalgic movie / TV show / book you can think of? I'll go first. Redwall series.
Mm,
Oh, solid choice.
yeah. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Smashing Pumpkins album, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Fucking love that album. Listen to that in 8th grade.
For sure.
What about the rest of you?
Green Gables.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
was wait
Very formative.
Book or
the
show?
book or the show?
So I didn't watch Avonlea, like Tales of Avonlea, but the first,
The Megan Follows 80s
the
one.
Megan Follows one, not the third one that they made,
I didn't see that either.
just the first one, and then the very end of the second one, because
And-
the end
and
of the second one improved on the book.
Anne of Avonlea.
Anne of Avonlea is good. Yeah, that's those are the two.
And then, but I was deeply into the Anne series as a kid. Like, I literally read everything that Ella Montgomery ever wrote that was published. And there are 7 books in the Anne series, if anyone was curious.
Got some Green Gables fans up in here.
Oh my god, I'm with you, Trin. That was what I was gonna say. So nostalgic. There's so many. It's so hard to choose. Like my movies would be 2. It's either Labyrinth or the 1994 Little Women.
Nice.
Yeah, those are my 2. Like, and then Anna, which we're gonna do a watch through in next week with Bella. Yeah, I'm a fan of Green Gables.
She's a perfect Anne, Megan Follows. Yeah.
Yep, I watched Dan with an E, and it was fine, but the new Netflix one that they did, yeah.
Casey, send us off. Cap us off.
PBS, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That whole series just takes me all the way back to like, oh, here we are, little Narnia action.
Yes, so good. Okay. And then I did get through this. My brain is mush. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us. It's been a little over a year, and just having you all here with us, invested in these stories as much as we are, is like unreal and so cool. It makes coming back here and doing this every week even more exciting. So thank you for hanging out with us, giving us 3 hours of your Wednesdays. Thank you to Mark Thomason for running the tech,
Yeah,
doing
Mark,
all the stuff
for
behind the
killing
scenes.
it.
Mark's amazing, just the best. You have no idea. I mean, you probably do. We all know Mark. We all love Mark. So thank you, Mark. Thank you to Aaron Buman for every season coming out with like dope music for each arc. The intro, the unbelievably gorgeous graphics that I want to see like a full-blown animated series sometime in the future. That would be really cool. He's so talented, and I've pinned his SoundCloud in the Discord under announcements. You can find it if you want to see more of his work. Thank you to Mark Worky Armad, who hangs with us, tells stories with us, is one of the storytellers with us, who we go to when we can't remember names or places or people.
Use your website again today.
Yep, made the website, www.voidjumpers.com. You can go check out all of the backstory and the lore and so much stuff. So thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, everybody who donated the asides. I think we're going to keep those maybe for next
I like
season.
them.
Fun.
Yeah, they're
I like
fun.
them a lot.
They're
We'll
great.
keep those for next season. Yeah, they'll be here for sure. So thank you, everybody that gave us some donations. Thank you to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us on your Twitch channel. You can find Zoe Game Night tomorrow night in the Discord, also on Twitch, so you can play at home. If you've ever played Jackbox, you can play as an audience member. It's super ridiculous and very fun. So you can check that out tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the Reliables is there on Monday, and I think they're back in the studio. They are. I'm so jealous. They get to be in person creating all this stuff. So they'll be here Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then we will be back with the first episode of our last arc next Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Victory lap, baby.
Yeah. Thank you all.